The images of the surprise attacks by Hamas on innocent lives in Israel is not something that just us adults see, but some kids in some cases and teens, they are seeing it too. What we're seeing can be tough to process. For advice on how to talk about these attacks with your children, what they're hearing when they're out and about, we are bringing in child psychologist Dr. David Chiarella. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, you're welcome, Lindsay.
Yeah, this is hard for kids, especially teens, to escape the video, the pictures. They have smartphones now, tablets, it's everywhere. Kids were taken, the lives were taken of young people. What types of reactions can these trigger in kids and young people when they see these images?
Well, I think it could trigger a great deal of anxiety. It can contribute a great deal of grief, of sadness, anger. I think all of those feelings. And I think your point is well taken. Our kids, even though if they're not sitting down in front of the television, they're hearing about this. They're seeing it on social media. And one of the points I'm going to make really quickly is that make sure you monitor your children's social media, your adolescents, and delete any messages because the militant organization will use that to show images that would be very disturbing. So I think that's a first point I would make. And the other thing is don't wait for your kids to come to you. Ask your kids questions like, have you heard what's happening? What do you think about what's happening in Israel and Palestine? What are your friends saying? And perhaps more than anything at this point, we just need to listen as parents. We need to listen. We need to be empathic. We need to validate their anger, their anxiety, their feelings, whatever they might be. And it's important not to quickly try to solve their feelings because they're real. And most importantly, we want to validate that what they're feeling is real and genuine and that we're all feeling it. And so it's important first and foremost, to ask those kinds of questions and then to validate their responses.
Yeah, good point there. I mean, sometimes you say, well, how is your day? How are you doing? Maybe instead asking, what are you hearing from others? That's a good thing to mention. I didn't think of that. War and violence, has uncertain outcomes. How do you explain that to a young person who might be asking this week, what's happening? Are we safe?
That's the million-dollar question, right? It's like, how do we help our children think and believe and act that they're safe? And this is even a little bit more complicated because there are many of Americans of Jewish descent or Jewish faith who are feeling even anxious here in America. So it becomes paramount for parents, first of all, again, to talk about it. Give it some air. Let kids express their anger and let parents tell them, yes, it is scary, but this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to keep you safe. And talk about what schools are doing to keep kids safe. Talk about what community organizations are doing to keep people safe and to help them feel that there's people out there that are keeping them safe. And I would add at this point that it's important for parents to, like a day like today's a nice day, take them to the park. Yeah. Have them engage in activities where they can express themselves, like drawings. Engage in a family night where you play a board game. All of those things help distract kids and anxious parents from engaging in ruminative or ruminating kinds of thoughts about this.
Now, do you find it also helps to maybe, with the older ones especially, explain the facts, reality of some of these unfortunate circumstances that we see in the world, not just with this news coverage, but other things? Does that help them, not sheltering them?
Yes. I think how it helps them, Lindsay, is it helps them give them some control because knowledge is power. So that if you can say, hey, let's find out what's going on over there in the Middle East and what is Hamas? What is the Gaza Strip? Let's talk about it about Israel and the Palestinians, because if you talk about that, that provides an opportunity not only to express feelings and gain knowledge, but also to gain some sense of control. I think it's particularly important with older kids. With younger kids, the less you say, the better, and you want to limit the amount of time that they see on images on television. You want to limit the amount of time that they might be talking to other children who are saying, hey, did you see what was on TV last night?
Right.
So you want to limit that kind of exposure, but you also want to increase for older kids the ability to gain knowledge, because if you have knowledge, it gives you more sense of control.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Dr. Chiarella. Thank you for joining us here on 21 News at 5 as we try to absorb this, young and old ages.